Hello, Daisy Cakes. This is Daisy X Machina, the drag queen detective who investigates all things speculative in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And this is a Get Ready With Me where I get into drag to film a video later today. And we have John Crome, we have Lori, we have Lynette. All righty. And how is everyone's reading going this week? I have did I finish the last week? Anyway, if I didn't mention it before, I read The Young Necromancer's Guide to Ghosts by Vanessa Ricci Toad. She's the indie author who won the Nebula Award for Best Middle Grade Book. And it was a fun book. Not that deep. I almost want to call it kind of cozy, but the stakes were a little high just to call it a cozy. But I also started reading the third book in the Tyrant Philosopher series by Adrian Tchaikovsky, Days of Shattered Earth. I love that series. It's really good. And I sort of reminded myself when I was doing the book reviews for the last 6 months, I was like, oh, I need to read that third book. And I started it and I immediately am drawn into it. I think Adrian Tchaikovsky is going to go down in the speculative history as one of the top writers of this period. I'm convinced of that. His writing is so good. His vocabulary is incredible. And, I put him up there with Gene Wolfe, and that's a big compliment for me. Anyway, here we go. Wearing boots most of the time. Is that about your wife, John? Rereading The Moat God Side. That is so good. That's one of the best Larry Niven, Jerry Purnell. I love in science fiction, one of my great loves is New Races. And I remember reading that, God, it was in high school. The Moaties. The race was so interesting, so surprising as the more you got into it. And you should read it if you haven't. I have no particular books to share. However, there's a distinct shift in my reading from fiction to nonfiction. Oh, that's interesting. I read the complete stories of Leonora Carrington. She was a British American surrealist artist. The stories were all similar. I should have read them one day at a time. Oh, so you instead of reading them like all at once? Because of your ankle. Oh, John, what'd you do to your ankle? Okay, I need to start a look. The only thing I was thinking, looking at this Wilma Fingerdew thing, is I was going to use this silver thing. So I think I'm just going to do blue and silver because I really like blue. I'm going to do silver with the matte look, however. And we're off. Now I'm reading The Monogram Murders by Sophie Hannah. It's a new Perot. Oh, I didn't know someone picked it up. Perot in the um, public domain, or does this person have permission from the Christie estate? Just curious. Okay. Do blue. Christie Estate gave her permission. I wonder if some of her stuff is in public domain though, 'cause, it's quite a while ago. But they probably copyright, like, the Miss Marple and Poirot and okay. First few books are in the public domain in the US, but not the rest of the world. Interesting. Oh, I finished watching the, Foundation Apple TV, series. I liked it, even though it's, nothing like the books, which are collections of, short stories. I liked what they did, of sort of taking the basic premise and universe and very creatively, spanning hundreds of years with the same actors. But they haven't even gotten to the mule yet, in which I believe is gonna be season 3. And of course, I am loving the Murderbot series, which and they are departing from the first season, or this first season is the first, um, I guess, novella, which means if they do 1 novella a season, they're never gonna run out of stories because 'cause they're not gonna do how many Murderbot books are there? I know there's over 6 or 7, and I don't think this is gonna run that many seasons, but, I hope it continues at least for season 2 because I actually liked book 2 better than book 1 where Murderbot gets a, sort of a relationship with the AI aboard a ship. In Britain and Australia, they don't enter public domain until 70 years after the author's death. Okay, 2047, wow. Frank is here, hey, Frank. Gotta fix my cursor pointer thing on my iPad, driving me crazy, oh dear. Murderbot is Apple TV. 'Cause I basically got Apple TV just for, Murderbot, and I've been pleasantly surprised how much science fiction is on Apple TV, and I'm just, like, scratching the surface right now, but Gosh, it looks so dark in person and it looks light in camera. That's fine. Reading American War by Omar El Akkad. Excellent. Nice. Most of my nonfiction is still in storage. I might have to put Apple TV on back for a month. Yeah. I mean, I'd suggest it. I mean, I thought I was just going to do a month, but I'm definitely keeping it for a little longer than that because so much I want to see, it seems like. Wow, 40% has been nonfiction. I know. Some of us are. I am. But I'm going to have to get HBO before the House of the Dragons are on. You know what I want to see? Um, at the theater. I may see it at the theater. I don't know if I will or not. I have a terrible tendency to fall asleep when I go to the theater, unless I'm in 4D where the seats shake and keep me awake. But the latest Superman, and the reason is I saw the trailer, one of the trailers, and they have Super Dog. I kind of want to see Super Dog. I was never a big Superman uh, comic book reader. Actually, I don't know if I've ever actually bought a Superman book. I mean, comic. Maybe if it was a crossover with Batman, but I can't even remember that. But I am aware that there has been a Super Dog, and I just think that'd be so fun to see. Why this is looking so patchy. I am boycotting Amazon. It saved me a lot of money. Yeah, so easy to just buy things when you don't when you probably should think about it for a little longer. Never bought Spider-Man. Wow. Well, they're both two different houses. Houses? Well, one's Marvel, one's DC. I personally pay for Bezos. I feel the same way. I'm not impulse buying off them anymore. Pretty sure Amazon knows this. Okay, so let's go for some light blue to finish this off the edges. But anyway, Superman's being released uh, sometime either next week or the week after. Oh, shoot. That wasn't the blue I wanted. Did it again. Oh, well. DC and Marvel comics are so sporadic in our news agents, one could never follow a story arc. I am boycotting a national chain that is based here in my city, but since I haven't bought anything from them in 10 years, I don't think they have realized it. Oh yeah, the Christopher Reeves. Yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater. Such a tragedy what happened to that actor. I kind of forget the plot of the first movie, but I know one of the subsequent movies had really stupid plots. The one with Richard Pryor was kind of crazy, and what was the one, was it the first movie? But, Lex Luthor's plan was to, set off the San Andreas Fault so he would own all the beachfront property because he bought up all the desert. Target bought what are we talking about? There is an Australian store I refuse to buy from because their salesmen are rude to customers. Oh, there's no excuse for that. Political reasons. Second one wasn't that bad. What's the one with Richard Pryor? That was kind of a silly one too. Anyway, okay, let's get this. Okay. Loved Pryor, one of the comedy greats up there with Lenny Bruce. Yeah, I like Richard Pryor. Um, I mean, I know I've seen like his stand up, not live, but um, his movies or whatever. But I'm trying to think of what movies he's been in besides Superman. I think didn't he do a couple movies with Gene Wilder? Oh, and if you don't know, he came out as at least bisexual, but he wasn't. I was going to say well received by the gay community, but he did this uh, probably in the 80s, maybe. He was there was some gay uh, comedy event or something, and Lily Tomlin arranged to have him come on, and he started his routine or whatever. But then when he realized that almost all the audience was white, he really turned on them, started going off. Okay. Oh, there we go. Silver Streak. That's it. Did not see him in Superman. Yeah, you could skip that one. Gene Wilder was hilarious. Superman 3. Okay, there we go. Thanks, John. He wrote The Owl and the Pussycat, but besides nonsense verses, he was good artist, especially of wildlife. I think I missed something. Oh, here we are. Bio of Edward Lear. A brick of the book, lovely illustration. Okie dokie. Okay, so we're done with the blue. Just going to lay down the like owls and wussy cats. Do you ever see the is that the movie with Barbara Streisand and George Segal, maybe? Is that what The Owl and the Pussycat is based on? The movie is about a this really pretentious writer who can't get a break and lives next door to a prostitute. Obviously, Streisand plays the prostitute. Um, okay. Thank God we have prisons. I think The Owl and the Pussycat was my favorite poem as a child. I need to look that up because I don't think that's the movie I saw. For harsher conditions. We have a feral cat problem, but not as severe as on the mainland. We don't have foxes and dingoes, unlike the mainland. Well, wouldn't the dingoes uh, put the cat population in check? Okay. I think probably everywhere has a feral cat problem. They seem to get out of control in a lot of areas. I actually think my cat Angel was may have been a feral kitten because we got her from animal control and they really couldn't tell us much about her. But she's had a lot of behavioral issues, so that's why I think she may have been feral. Okay. I think I'm going to keep this white. My mom loves foxes. She's got fox stuff all around. Well, they're so cute. Apparently, in the outback, the cats are hyper evolving, capable of taking down small kangaroos. Are you kidding me? My first cat was feral. I suppose dingoes don't take as many kittens as devils because devils can climb and enter burrows. Sounds like an end of the world movie. The cats are evolving. Maybe they'll make one like Razorback. Incredible dingo story where innocent parrots accused of. Oh, I remember that. That was a movie with Meryl Streep. Okay. Okay, I'm going to pack on the white. Okay. Only the mother was convicted and she was eventually found innocent. Worked in library once, and one of the books was 101 Uses for Dead Cat. The librarians hated it. I remember that book. That was like the 80s or something. No, it wasn't a Monty Python book. They found the baby's jacket and it was proof she was taken by a dingo. That was a wild story, huh? Okay, on the edges, I do want to do. And okay. Oh, the mushroom trial. Oh, Brandy. Hey, Brandy. Thank you for coming in and saying hello. Yeah, I want to know about the mushroom trial. Might be over this week as the jury should begin their deliberations on Monday. Yeah. How long will it be since that one becomes a movie? Okay, so I am going to do this silver on the Wilma Fingerdew palette. It's like that with the Kellis cat in Scotland. Everyone who reported seeing one was ridiculed until Forestry Commission captured one. Oh, I don't know that story either. Well, this silver is coming out gray. I think I'm going to go in a little bit with this blue here, just on the edges. Well, we'll have to go with that. I have short time at this sec to view, but I will come back. Okay, well, thank you, Brandy. Thought it was Animal Herd. A lot of zoo animals escaped from a zoo in UK and caused a lot of confusion and fear because people didn't know what they were. Didn't the Romans bring cats to Britain? Or was that rabbits? I have no idea. Kind of makes sense because I know cats were big in Egypt, ancient Egypt, and they were worshipped, Basti, the goddess of the cat. But they were used to help control field mice way back then. There's wild wallabies in Britain? Weren't there rabbits that were released into Australia and sort of ran amok? Made a lot of money over Bigfoot in the US, but it's another dumb hoax. I think. I saw you said "I think." Will we ever know for sure? It is pretty, outrageous if it was, um, yeah, I'm fine with this. First, I'm gonna do the chroma cake. Oh, man, I don't have any water. Usually, I have a thing of water here. Hold on. I thought I was missing something. The Romans brought civilization to people in Britain. We don't have Bigfoot Australia, we have the bunyip. Rubbish, Frank. Yes, we can argue about what is civilization. But I will say, if you define it as sort of the roots of Western civilization as we know it today, I think that's true. Okay. Okay. Actually, I want to just reinforcing some of this black up here. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Uh, point, paint their faces blue. The Braveheart got the idea. Various Celtic nations had a thriving civilization, just different from Rome. I agree with John. Not so civil. Body paint was indicate Latin. Okay, I don't know. You guys you're talking above my head. I don't define crucifixion as part of civilization, yet nobody's perfect. Unrefined woad is a contact poison, so it had to be chemically treated to become body paint. I had no idea about that. It's kind of interesting. Okay, I need to start my own body paint. I always thought it was interesting, not interesting. I always thought it was ironic how the British Empire colonized, was known, for colonizing so many countries in the 19th through 20th century. When, if you go back long enough, they were colonized by the Romans, Greeks. Okay. The English claimed your ancestors were uncivilized too, Frank, and we all know how they treated them worse than the native Brits. Lucrative buzz, body paint, it's sure expensive. Britain was colonized by Romans and the English. The Spanish were pretty good at colonizing too, and were under Muslim rule for some time. Now, history just keeps repeating itself. For the English could be, but they went on to build the world's biggest empire. That's true. Of course, we're stuck with a lot of what ifs, because they also brought a lot of disease, at least to the Americas. But what if the the Aztec Mayan civilization survived? There's a science fiction series that posits that about the Aztecs. I think the writer was a historian. Spanish were incredibly cruel, even Columbus. I find the writings of Bartolomeo de las Casas interesting. Used to have nude body paint in New York City. At least 10 of my ancestors arrived as convicts. Most of the administrators of that empire were Irish, Scots, or Welsh. I have a book to read about the Portuguese expansion. Half the population of Hispaniola was dead and gone a few years after Chris showed up. Wow, 150K. Speaking of horrible colonizers, I'll be Spain a couple weeks in the fall. Oh, I'll also have a book about the history of Madagascar, which I know nothing about. Was that where Queen? There's this. Look up the fruit tangina, Tangena. It was used by this mad queen. I think it might have been in Madagascar, who you would eat the fruit, and if you died, you were innocent, and if you lived, you were uh, guilty. One of those things. Anyway, she used the fruit a lot, and I think she scared sort of the Western powers, so they never really colonized the country. I think they called her like the Mad Queen, or it'd be a really interesting book or movie or something. Yes, Madagascar had a nasty queen. Okay, there we go. Some archaeologists and ethnologists estimate between 80 and 90% of North American died due to disease. Yep. I didn't know it was that high, but I know it was. Things would have been a lot different if that didn't happen. Or what about if it went the other way? You know, there are diseases in the so-called New World that affected the Europeans. Okay. Madagascar was settled by people from Malaysia, I think, not from Africa. Yeah. Well, look up that queen. She's it's really interesting story. I'm not a tourist. I just blend right in. The reason why so few diseases from the New World affected Europeans is because the New World lacked herd animals. Oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess. Read about Madagascar a few years ago. A lot of strange animals. We have an eco crisis now. Read a short story about Cortez landing in Mexico a day later than he did, and 5 years later, Mexico arrived and invaded Spain. So, Okay. Might be an entire novel based on a similar idea. Be interesting. Cortez had a lot of help from other tribes that hated the Aztecs. Otherwise, he wouldn't have won, no matter how much smallpox there was. I read a book years ago in which the Plain Indians won and had their country in the middle of the USA. Yeah, good old alternate histories. Okay. Just using. The first alternate history book, or at least the modern alternate history book, um, was written by a black man during the years leading up to the Civil War in the United States, which posited, what if the black slaves rose up in the South and um, sort of rebelled against the white slave owners, and then moved to Cuba and founded uh, their own state. I should look up the name of that guy. I hate talking about authors and not remembering anyone's name. He was the highest ranking uh, black man during the Civil War. I think it was a colonel or something. Let's find it that way. Highest ranking. Wrote Martin Delaney. Born 1812, died 1885. Eelany. Comanches had a huge empire in the Southwest for a while. Oh, Ellen Dean Foster. I haven't heard of that book. I know Ellen Dean Foster. Gun, Germs, and Steel. Yeah, everyone read that one, and except for me. But I've heard a lot about it. Wrote the Alien movie, right? He wrote the novel based on the Alien movie was first. Well, it's it was allegedly copied from A. Van Vogt's Voyage's Space Beagle. But anyway, because the estate sued the whoever did the Alien movie. Um, some famous director whose name is Ridley Scott. Was that him? Anyway, but back then, Alan Dean Foster was known as the guy who could take movies and write the novels from. So the movies came first, and then he would take the script and write a novel by it. And he did that with Star Wars. He was the ghostwriter to the Star Wars book that was credited to George Lucas, and he did the Alien book. He was like well known as the go-to author to rewrite scripts as books. I haven't read Gorky Park. I've certainly heard of it. That's many people think Aztecs used to use fellow humans as their main protein source. I don't think that's true. I mean, I know their human sacrifices were as part of some of the religions, but read some of her. Oh, Harry Turtledove alternate history books. After the sacrifice of a powerful captured warrior, the Knight Societies did eat the arms and legs of the victim to gain his power. Yeah, but that's not like the main source of the protein. That's just okay. Whatever. We need to move on. I need to get. Need more blush. I just keep feeling I need more. Goni Blake. Oh, isn't that crazy? It's episode 99. Thank you, Goni. Love his Commonwealth series and Flick series. Goni and whoever is new, tell us what you're reading while I do my lips. I do blue lips. I'm just going to do red lips. I always regret doing blue after I do it. Never understood novelization of movies, so my brother loved Jaws and The Deer Hunter. Go figure. Those were written as books first, though, right? I'm sure Jaws definitely was. Eventually, definitely wrote that before the movie. Yeah. James Blish wrote the Star Trek novelizations or short storyizations of the original series, which he claimed made him financially secure as a writer. He credits those Star Trek books for. Jaws, the movie, was better than the book. Finished rereading Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, light summer solstice book. Anne Rice is one of my favorite horror writers, and I am very basic when it comes to favorite horror writers. It's King, Clive Barker, Anne Rice. Uh, Controversial opinion, Goni. I think the interview was the weakest of the Vampire Lestat books. I think Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned really took it to um, new heights. And part of that was after Interview with the Vampire, she stopped writing for like, no, she didn't stop writing. She stopped writing horror books for a while. And then when she came back to it, I think she really improved as a writer when she did Lestat. My favorite Anne Rice is still the Mayfair Witches series. And it was great if you're into vampires. It's so good. The again, I still think the later ones were better. She wrote erotica. I don't like vampire zombie books. I can't think of reading a zombie. I think I did read. Well, of course, my favorite zombie book. It's Hollow Kingdom, with the point of view of the crow shit. The yeah shit turd, the crow. Um, but I also read Pride and Prejudice and the Zombies. It was such a stupid book. But yeah, zombies are mostly known for their movies than they are or TV shows. I saw I've told this story before, but I saw, the original Romero's Night of the Living Dead when I was a kid, and I watched it on a black and white TV, so I didn't really even so it felt like a especially the ending felt kinda real to me, and I was like I believe I was, like, 7 years old, 7 or 8, and I had nightmares of zombies until I was an adult. Even through adulthood, I would still have nightmares of zombies, but I couldn't get enough of them. Like when they did those zombie movies in the '80s, I had to watch them. Only vampire book I read was Dracula. I do love Hollow Kingdom. Still haven't gotten around to reading the sequel. Me either. I highly recommend Hollow Kingdom, where the ended are really fast. You can't get away from them. Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of them like that. Lynette will survive the zombie outbreak. The entire Breaking Bad series is on my bucket list and fear I may not have to start it on it soon. Being underwater, being chased by skeletons. Oh, that's the other one. We were talking about Jaws. Uh, I read Jaws way too young, and I definitely saw the movie way too young. I want to say I was like 10 years old, and I cannot shake being scared of being in the water. Oh gosh, these lips are uneven. I don't feel like messing with it. Um, they don't look that bad. But for a while, I was scared to even be in like a in the swimming pool. Just my imagination would just start going. But to this day, if I'm in water that's really opaque, that I can't see the bottom, thoughts will start going through my head. I don't think it was awful. It's epistolary, right? You have to kind of like old fashioned writing. Lori loved it. It's a slow read. Uh, Maybe I should not trust the booktuber's opinions. Well, yeah, I found it much creepier than any other vampire story I've read. My nightmares as a child were usually about fires. Yeah, mine was about um, definitely about zombies. I did have this one scary one about an elephant because maybe some of you may remember this. There was a book about jokes about elephants that was popular at one time. Anyway, there's nothing scary about that book, but for some reason, the cartoons of the elephants were like stuck in my mind, and I had this really weird dream where a elephant was trying to kill me by sucking his nose. It's like a vacuum cleaner trying to suck me up. And I distinctly remember that nightmare because I believe it was the only time I ever sleepwalked, because I imagined the elephant was in my room going after me, and I had to, like, run out and escape it, and so I was, like, going to my parents' room, but I woke up, like, in the middle of the hallway. Okay, let's do eyelashes. I also had a dream, another weird dream, again as a kid, where someone had the bright idea to tell me, "Well, if you die in a dream, you wake up." And I guess the whole dream was constructed around that, advice, because I was being chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and for whatever reason, I decided to I knew this was a dream. It was like a dream where you know it was a dream. So I decided to, throw myself into the mouth of a Tyrannosaurus Rex so I would wake up, and he bit me in half, and I didn't wake up. So it's like, the top half of me was, freaking out that I wasn't waking up. Okay, here we go. This should make the look. Because eyelashes change everything. After seeing Dr. Phoebe's movie, I had nightmare about rats. Yipes. Sleepwalked just once, scared my parents to death. I hated falling dreams, so I stopped them. You have to put up those anxiety blocks. Phoebe's movie is brilliant. I once dreamt in colors that didn't exist. Oh, man. I hope you remember that one, Lynette. I want to see that. Oh, thank you, Lori. We had rats last year, but they had all been terminated. I think what I might do, if you don't know, I do the YouTube shorts usually of just cut up my videos, but I also always do one from the new makeup look, and I always put like old man gets into drag or geezer goes into drag, and Lori's always like, you shouldn't call yourself a geezer, but it's for the clicks. It gets views. But I'm thinking about doing one with one of those old men filters. Really show the old man turning into a drag queen. Okay. Um, I was attempting to do real silver lids, but this is fine. This looks good. It's not as silver as I thought they would be. Oh, bye, Lori. Or do we leave that one, Daisy? Okay, I'm behind. I'm behind. It's on a stranger island, and the unseeable colors were swirling around me. I love that so much. Just watch Seven Psychopaths, Christopher Walken and Woody Harrelson. Those are all great actors. I haven't heard of that movie though. Thank you, John. Strange Island, not stranger. There's strange animals on the island and a baby in a bottle. Sounds like a wild drink. Okay, so let's just throw on some stuff, jewelry and a wig, and I think we're done. And because I knew I was going to try to play with the silver, I got this, my double stacked wig. Oops. Thank you, Gody. Strangest dreams I ever had were 6 months after he passed away. My husband, Dennis, is always dreaming about people that passed away. So who knows what that means. Time for a new wig. Oh, don't tempt me, Lynette. I want you to spend money. Well, I still look for new wigs on Fristen's site, but he's always doing these really long wigs, and I'm kind of in the mood for like a short wig. Maybe I'll just like do a really short, cheap, what they call bus driver wigs. Okay. This is the final look. It's a lot more blue than I was expecting because my goal was to do a silver and blue look, but the silver sort of got away from me. And yes, it's looking a little teal. Teal's my favorite color, and the other blue greens. Yellow like the sun is my absolute favorite. Looking great. Yeah, well, last week I did sort of yellow, orange, gold look. Takes MILF to the new level. Oh, thank you, John. Ash blonde. No, this is definitely gray. Okay, guys. I should be back next week. I will be releasing the next Shelve It or Shove It this week, and then I'll be going to the Retro Hugos again. And today I'll be filming Shelve It or Shove It for next month because I want to be a month ahead. And I should be back next week. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. And as usual, may all the books you read be blessed.